What is up guys, my name is Tausif Hussain and today we're going to be looking at the different iPads and which one is best for you. So in order to answer that question, I'm going to be tackling it in two different ways. Firstly, we're going to look at which iPad is perfect for each particular use case, and then secondly, we're going to be working our way up the price ladder to look at what exactly we get for spending more money on each of the tiers of the iPad models. On that note, today we're going to be comparing the iPad 10.2, the iPad Air, and the iPad Pro. Now, getting started on the first point, I believe which iPad someone buys is going to mainly depend on what your use category or case is. Now, overall, if you're just looking for an iPad to have as an extra consumption device for like YouTube, Netflix, and whatnot, and web browsing, or maybe you just want to keep it open for any family member to use, such as the kids, then I think that the iPad 8th Gen is the perfect tablet for that. Now, it also has Apple Pencil support, albeit the first gen Apple Pencil, but I think it's more than adequate for students and doodlers alike. Now, there are other reasons why I think this is such a great buy, but we're going to get into that later on in the video. Next up, if you're looking for all the latest bells and whistles, which includes the latest design language with the smaller bezels, a better screen, a better processor, and the newest accessories that Apple has to offer in its ecosystem, including the second gen Apple Pencil and the Apple Magic Keyboard, then I believe the iPad Air, which is newly released, is perfect for that. And lastly, if your needs are more of a professional requirement, then the better multi-core processing with the iPad Pro will be nice for photo and video editing, as well as the 120Hz is great and awesome for the pencil work as well as some games. And lastly, if you need the largest iPad like the 12.9 inch and you're replacing, let's say, your current laptop or computer with it, then the iPad Pro is the one to get. Okay, so now that we've kind of broken down the different use cases of these iPads, I kind of want to work my way up from the cheapest iPad to the most expensive one and actually break down what exactly we're going to be getting for spending that extra money. Before we get started, I'd just like to take 30 seconds to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Paperlike. Now, Paperlike is one of the first accessories I put on my iPad Pro when I got it. It is kind of like a screen protector, but on steroids, because it does a lot more than that. So it has like this like matte anti-reflective surface, which also does help with like bright light situations or if you're outside in the sun, but also it helps a lot, or the main intention is for it to help with the Apple Pencil. The first thing I noticed when I started writing with the Apple Pencil on like a naked iPad is that it feels weird to kind of write on glass, right? Like you just hear like the tunk, 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 and like you're just writing on it. But with Paperlike, it does actually sound and feel like you're writing on paper. So if you are interested in picking up Paperlike, then make sure you guys go ahead and check out the link in the description down below. Okay, so starting with the cheapest of the three, the $329 iPad 8th Gen. Now, I actually did a full review on this one, so if you're interested, I'm gonna link it up here. I definitely recommend that you guys go check it out. This, in my opinion, is the best bang for buck tablet experience you can buy. You pretty much get majority of what makes an iPad with this model, and at a reasonable price point that too. You get the capable 812 processor, the Apple Pencil Gen 1 support, Apple keyboard and mouse support, Touch ID, and all the software enhancements that you're gonna get with even like the most expensive iPad that come with iPad OS, which is what really makes this iPad something special in my eyes. Now, moving on to the next level, which is the iPad Air. Now, the iPad Air starts at $599, which is nearly $300 more, which makes this iPad almost double the price of the last one. So let's see if it is actually offering you double the value. Well, for starters, you get a much better design that looks and feels a lot more premium. The screen size also goes up from 10.2 inches to 10.9 inches, and you get upgraded to a liquid retina display with True Tone technology. It has a fully laminated display, so it doesn't feel like plasticky and hollow like the first iPad that we talked about. And it also has a wider P3 color gamut and anti-reflective coatings. Now, even though this has a bigger screen, the size of the tablet is actually identical pretty much to the iPad 8. And in fact, the whole iPad is actually a tad bit thinner and lighter. You also get a stronger processor with the A14 Bionic chip, which is actually the most powerful processor you can find in an iPad right now, for single core performance at least, including even the iPad Pro. You get support for Apple Pencil 2nd Gen as well as the Magic Keyboard. You also get a better camera going from 8 megapixels to 12 megapixels, and you also get 4K video recording now. The front-facing camera is actually quite a bit better as well, so if you're somebody who's going to be doing Zoom, Skype, or FaceTime calls, then this will definitely look quite a bit better. Okay, and lastly, it has a USB-C connection port rather than the Lightning port, which can actually be a big difference depending on what your particular use case is. It allows you to connect external storage devices like hard drives or SSDs, USB-C docks, and even external displays. And also a side note, it doesn't have Face ID, but you still have Touch ID that's built into the power button. This was done because you gotta get rid of that home button in order to extend the bezels. Okay, so at this point, you gotta actually pause and think and ask yourself, okay, is it worth actually spending nearly double the amount of money for the benefits that I just listed right now? Now, if we are to refer to my use case scenario theory, then this would be the iPad that kind of falls right in the middle for somebody who's looking for the best experience iPad has to offer for the money. If you plan on keeping the iPad for a long time, I do think saving up a bit more to get the Air makes sense. Okay, on to the big boy now. So what exactly do we get for moving from the iPad Air to the iPad Pro? Now, the iPad Pro is priced at $799 for the 11-inch model and $999 for the 12.9-inch model. So about a $200 difference between each iteration. Okay, so let's first talk about sizes. If you need the bigger 12.9-inch display, which is what I use personally, and I absolutely love it, to be quite honest, if you're in the camp where you're trying to replace your desktop or your laptop with a iPad, then in my opinion, this larger screen size can definitely help you get there. You get more screen real estate for things like multitasking or split screen work that you might want to do. So if you do need that larger screen, 12.9-inch, then it's a no-brainer. You got to get the iPad Pro. Another difference in terms of the screen is ProMotion technology, which is basically a fancy term for 120 Hertz on the display. But I gotta say, I absolutely can tell a difference with screen sizes this big. I love the 120 Hertz that I see on it. The experience just becomes so much more smoother. It's nicer to scroll and use, and everything just feels so much more premium. I don't know what it is, it looks so much better. Also, if you're someone who is a professional when it comes to using the Apple Pencil, then the 120 Hertz does help a lot in terms of fluidity and a seamless user experience. And now in terms of the processor, now because this iPad is older than the iPad Air, you actually have an older chip in here, which is the A12Z chip. However, I've been using the iPad Pro for pretty much most of this year, and I haven't run into any situation that it couldn't handle. And I've been doing all sorts of photo and video editing, and that's mainly because multi-core processor performance on the iPad Pro is actually still better. Another difference you're gonna have is with the cameras. You also get a 10 megapixel ultra-wide camera in addition to the 12 megapixel main camera, and you also get True Tone flash as well as a LiDAR sensor. You get a slightly upgraded front camera, which allows you to do portrait shots as well. Audio quality also on this is going to be better. The experience is really good with double the amount of speakers on this one. You have 4 speakers for watching content on it, and it is just a hoot. And last but not least, you have Face ID, which in my opinion is actually just better. Okay, so now you gotta ask yourself, do I really need the big screen? And if so, then your decision is easy. If not, then okay, what are these features really worth $200 more? And again, this goes back to the use case scenario theory. I would personally say the iPad Air is the perfect middle ground for pretty much everyone except for certain types of professionals who may require the 120 Hertz display, or they require the Apple Pencil work for gaming. Then if you can get by, then I would probably advise saving the extra $200 so you can use that towards accessories, because the pencil and the keyboard can get quite expensive when you start bundling everything together. But I will say this though, if you are interested in the iPad Pro or you're comfortable playing and dabbling around with the used market, you can probably pick one up for pretty much the same price as the iPad Air, and maybe in some cases if not even cheaper. And in that case, I would definitely recommend going with the iPad Pro because you're just getting a few more things and a few more additional items which you don't get with the Air. Okay, so let's conclude. For someone looking for the best bang for buck and just needs a content consumption device, whether it's for them or multiple family members, including kids, the iPad 8 Gen is just perfect. If you're looking for the latest and greatest experience with the iPad when it comes to screen, design, power, accessories, then the iPad Air is the way to go. And for those who need the bigger screen on the iPad or just want the 120 Hz display or better audio experience and a better camera setup as well as Face ID, the iPad Pro is a great buy. Although I would push you towards the used market as you're bound to find some good deals right now on it, but that does kind of open up the risk to finding someone creepy as well. So Viewer discretion is advised. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found this video beneficial. This is a question that is very common, so I hope I helped make that decision for you guys. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below which one you guys decided to go with or which one you would recommend. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And on that note, if you like this video, then make sure you guys go ahead and crush that like button. If you like content around tech, gadgets, filmmaking, and lifestyle, then make sure you guys go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And as usual, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.